Alright folks, so we're going to keep going with this PowerPoint animations, the first lesson in this topic. And we're going to extend what we were doing just a little bit more. So again, the major objective that we're working with is that you're going to be able to create interactive, multimedia-rich, and well-designed presentations. But the smaller objective that we're working on in this particular case is that you're going to be able to adjust the animations that you've already learned how to create so that two or more objects can enter or appear at the exact same time. Now, as so far, we've only been able to show them up 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to set it up so multiple things happen at the same time. This is actually pretty quick and easy. Let's say we'll go back to these pictures, the smiley face, the polygon, and the castle. And we want to make them all appear at the same time. We already know to make them appear, I click on one of them. Again, I go to the Animations tab. I go to Custom Animation, and that gives me my Custom Animation panel, which is here. Here's my custom animation panel. Okay, and I get that by clicking on custom animation. If I want to make this smiley face appear, I click it, and I go to add effect, I hit entrance, and I can choose any of these. I'm going to choose appear, which just makes it appear. Alright, now if I choose this polygon, I can do the same thing, click on it, then do add effect, entrance, and then maybe this one I'll do blinds, it'll make it come in a little bit differently. Right, but if I run this presentation, first the face will show up, and then if I click again, I get the dodecahedron. Okay, but what if I want them to show up at the same time? How can I do that? Well, it's actually quite easy. Over here in my sort of timeline over here, first you see it says smiley face. Second, it says dodecagon. Okay, so if I want them to appear at the same time, well, instead of having this mouse click symbol next to both of them, I want to say, hey, number 2 shouldn't be waiting for a mouse click. So if you see, just above here, if I want the dodecagon to come in without a mouse click, instead of saying start on click, I say start with the previous, which means it will happen at the same time as the previous one in the timeline. And you can see the one mouse here, but there's no other mouse here, which means this is happening at the same time. So in this case, if I run the presentation again, and I go, they both show up at the same time. And I can do that with multiple things. Here I can add the castle as well, and if I go to click on the castle, and I go to add effect, entrance, and then appear, there's my castle. Okay? Now if I run the presentation, just the first 2 will show up, and then if I click again, there comes the castle. Now that may be what you want, but if you wanted all 3 of them to show up at the same time, I can say, instead of on click for the castle, I can change it to with previous. And that will make, so you can see there's a 1 next to all 3 of these objects. All 3 of them will appear on the first mouse click. Interestingly, we can go a little bit further with this. We can have more than 1 mouse click for a bunch of different stuff. So here's 4 bullet points. If I click on this text box, and I go to add effect, and then entrance, and then appear, okay, and then click this little guy, all 4 of the bullet points have their own separate mouse click. Let's say I want 2 and 3 to show with number, or let's say I want just 2 to the second bullet point here to show with the first one. Well, I can choose the second bullet point in my timeline, here it is, and I can change that from on click to with previous. And then similarly, I could take the last bullet point and do that as well. And that way I'd only be clicking my mouse twice. The first time I click, the first 2 bullet points should show up. The next time I click, the second 2 bullet points should show up. So let's see. I click, and there's the first 2, and I click, and there's the second 2. Now as we get deeper and deeper into the animations, you're going to have lots and lots of stuff on the screen at the same time, and so you might have 1, 2, you might have 20 different clicks. You might be doing a lot of reordering in the custom animation panel. You might be adding some things with clicks, some things without. So it's just something you want to get super comfortable with as we get deeper into the animations. The next little assignment will test you on your skills with that and give you some practice, so get going.